Everybody. Today we are going to talk about technology and the esoteric roots of technology. So, what is one of the first brands of technology that comes to mind? Apple. Okay, let's have a look at Apple's first ever advertisement. Let's have a look.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information fortification directives. Created for the first time in all history a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests, obeying contradictory thoughts. Recognition of the laws is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will weary them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Great. So, hold on to that thought for a second. So the first thing that Apple ever advertised, before they ever aired this advertisement that we just saw, was the advertisement. I'll just make it quicker. If you do your research, you'll find that Apple's first ever written advertisement was for the typewriter. Here it is. And let's have a look at it. You see the very dystopian way of bringing that information just before. And yeah, it's really interesting how very New World agenda set it is. So if we look at Apple's first ever product, you can read through this in your own time if you like, but do we notice that the price here is very biblical, whether you believe in that sort of stuff or not? So hold on to that thought. Okay, so here we see the picture of the apple. Now, their slogan, as you can see on the screen here, is think different. And why is the bite taken out of the apple? Because there's a knowledge that was forbidden, the apple that was forbidden, the forbidden apple. So what we have is symbolism, and what we are opposed to in a free-thinking society is mind control, and more importantly, how to break free from that. So here we have a corporation that is referencing some quite interesting things in relation to whatever you want to call it. So, what does the apple represent? To me, it represents the tree in the middle of the Garden of Eden. And have we ever thought of things like the sayings that we project, such as, "You are the apple of my eye," and "I will." The letter I in the English language represents me, but the eye, the first eye that forms when you're in the womb, not the third eye, the device that downloads the information from the ether, from the Akashic records, call it what you will, is a visionary eye. And science very much dictates that it has a retina, which is what these two eyes have, which allows us to see out. This eye, however, allows us to see in. As the shamans would say, they walk with the feet in both worlds, the spiritual world and the physical world. So here we are in the physical world asking questions. Does spirituality exist? Does spirituality exist? Well, one thing that I will say is that the technology that we have today, we seem to have strayed away from the belief that it is not predetermined, when I believe, and I know in fact for sure that it is, meaning that this technology that we have in our hand is not the first time that we've had this technology. So what could that mean? It means that there is a blueprint out there somewhere which shows us that it's the same principles as the technology that we're being sold. So what is a RAM? A RAM in technology is random access memory. In medical astrology, this is the RAM, the random access memory. So, what does this mean? What is the symbolism of the wolf and the apple? What is the symbolism of the poison apple? And you know that cartoon where, I can't remember who it was, but someone has, maybe it was different characters throughout history, I'm sure it was, but they put the apple on their head and someone else will shoot it off with an arrow. So you'll notice that that arrow that's always used is a Roman arrow. Interesting. Have you ever noticed that what is written above the cross of Christ is INRI, which, if you know symbolism, you could say that as a sentence. And it says inner eye, the inner eye of consciousness. So when Christ, King of Nazareth, revolutionary, whatever you want to call this person, he was crucified at the 33rd year of his life. The vertebrae has 33 sections, which the pineal body, or the third eye, sits upon the top of it. So what does it mean to die at 33? And what is the 33rd degree of Freemasonry? And what is being given the third degree? Bad things come in threes. Beautiful things come in threes. Everything in nature comes in a trinity. Proton, electron, neutron. Everything. Absolutely everything. So, what are the chances that the inner eye is the apple that should not have been picked, but it was? And then we had the fall of man. So, when in the story of the Bible, I am not religious, but in this story, Christ says, when thy eye be single, the whole body will become like a lamp. And then he further talks in that same book about the 7 lamps, which in Western medicine they call the endocrine system. Started in 1903. Very new science of already known wisdoms, but they're taking us in the opposite direction with that. In Egypt, Kemet, it was known as Som Shimra, which in their language, in the Medu Neter, means spinning wheels of Ra. So they encompass the knowledge that the wheels are spinning, just like the sun spins. Is it a coincidence that the sun radiates at the exact vibration and beat of the human heart? Is that a natural condition, or is that a random cause? Are we divine as we came? Or did we crawl out of the ocean from soup and come from a big bang like they say we did? So, Roman Catholic priest with priest-funded Einstein. Einstein, one stone. Would you let this man come into your house and teach your children what you're teaching your children today? Would you let this man come into your house and teach your children anything at all? No. Why? So, what is Bill Gates? And what are windows? Because I very well understand what windows and gates take us to. They are portals to the other side. And when the symbol of windows is 4 elements, it's beautiful. But is the knowledge here for you? Or are they taking it and giving back something to reform and to give rebirth to a society of their means? Do we understand history? Do we understand why we're being told a story but not actually being able to receive the story because we're so distracted? It's interesting how 24 hours is days, and we're in a daze. 7 days of the week, and we're weak. We are in a daze, we have been made weak, and we are numb to numbers. We do not understand the stars. We don't understand the signals from the messengers that guardian the message from us, and the higher places that it will take us in terms of intellect when we find that. So, one of the biggest providers of mobile phones is who are we? Who are we? The meaning of an android is a human with robot appearance. Or it's a robot with human appearance. It's an android, and that's how most people are when they're on these devices. Some people call it a phone, but I call it a phony because they're not real when you're with them. It's like there's this big wall that's come up, and we wonder where we are today, but we fail to see the code. The code is there, and we are subjective to secret societies that understand more about why we're here than through the devices of information they're giving us, such as the World Core Curriculum that was presented to us through Robert Mueller, who, if you read his quotes, he was very big on pushing a one world government agenda, as are the very high ranking members of the United Nations. But where are we today?